Are you ready? We're gonna take this free.
Hello and welcome back to 3D Babble. Alright, today we're going to do an explainer video, because I know that a lot of you do not read The Legend of Drizzt. And since that's what I talk about on my Friday videos, I figured it might be time to explain who Drizzt is, what The Legend of Drizzt is, because I feel like a lot of you should get into it. It's really good time. Alright, so we're going to talk about him today. Where I'm going to start chronologically. I'm not going to explain the whole book or anything, because you guys can read that by yourselves. There's a lot of interesting content. R.A. Salvatore is a great writer, so whatever you can do to make sure that you read that book or whatever, awesome. So what we're doing is we're going to start with House Do Erden. Okay, that's the house that Drizzt is a part of. So, without further ado, let's get started. House Do Erden. House Do Erden is a Drow house in the city of Menzoberranzan, or Menzoberranzan, which, however you want to pronounce it. Regardless, Drow city, which Drow are dark elves. If that's not self-explanatory enough for you, they are elves, just like surface elves. Only they live deep in the Underdark, in the layers of the underworld. They're basically just like really dark-skinned elves, but they're like super evil, I guess, is the best way to put it. So it is a matriarch society, all right, and House Do Erden is run by Matron Malice. Okay, she is the head of the household, the queen of House Do Erden. House Do Erden is the ninth house. Well, now is the ninth house of Menzoberranzan. The way that happened is they attacked the previous ninth house. Okay, and pretty much destroyed them. Okay, Drizzt is the baby of Matron Malice and Zaknafane. Alright, now he was supposed to be the third child. The third child is always killed. Or the third male is always killed. He's not a third child, he's just the third male. So the third child is always killed, kind of like, China, almost. Well, China now, huh? They changed their policy. So, Drizzt's life was forfeit. He was supposed to die. However, during the raid on that, ninth house, I don't remember the name right now, but during the raid on that ninth house, I guess Cortana's not too happy. I don't know what just happened, but without further ado, Drizzt's life was forfeit. However, during the attack on the ninth house, his older brother Dinin Do Erden, who is the second son of House Do Erden, he kills the first son of House Do Erden, Nalfane. Okay, and the reason he does this is so he becomes the first son. So Nalfane's death then became the sacrifice that was supposed to be Drizzt's. Following right now? Hopefully. So Drizzt, long story short, Drizzt is now fine. He is not supposed to be sacrificed. He's totally cool. Good job, Drizzt. Surviving as a baby. Alright, so during his life, he was raised by his sister, Vienna, who was, relatively, as far as Drow go, she was pretty nice. She treated him harshly because he was a male, and she explained to Drizzt why that males were lesser than the females of Drow society. And my personal belief is because Loth is obviously a female, and she's the queen, so she's like, oh, all the females are the superior. And so she explains to Drizzt that all males are lesser, and they are all basically slaves to the female counterpart. They start training Drizzt, and Drizzt learns a bunch of shit. Well, he becomes kind of a prodigy because at a very early age he masters levitation, which is like crazy. He's kind of exceeding their standard. Following that, Drizzt goes to Zaknafein, who is the current weapons master of Menzoberranzan, and of House Do'Urden, who is also Drizzt's father. However, Drizzt does not know this. He'll find that out later. Zaknafein's the only good drow that Drizzt has ever known, or that anyone has really ever known. But, so Zaknafein teaches him all of his morality and really teaches him how to be like a good guy, kind of, and says like, hey, listen, the Drow Society, pretty fucked up, but you and me, we gotta stick together, and we gotta get through this. So he learned how to fight from Zaknafein, and he mastered the technique that's really common in the Drow Society, which is dual wielding, and he chose scimitars. Alright, so he dual wields scimitars, and he is amazing at it. So Zaknafein taught him an improvisational fighting style, and that he believes is the best fighting style. So because it's, in the moment, you react to what's happening, you use your muscles as kind of you teach your muscles how to move in certain situations. So rather than memorizing a certain fighting style, he teaches him how to improvise and become a better fighter that way. Well, they entered him into the school for Drow called Melee Magthere. Melee Magthere, probably. And he was the best in his class. There was a contest at the end of every year called the Grand Melee. Now, Drizzt beat the shit out of everyone in every Grand Melee. So, on the 5th try of the Grand Melee, the elders at the academy thought it would be a great idea to pit him against people who were 3 times his senior. Okay, so they have been the Melee Magthere, what the fuck ever. Melee Magthere for 3 more years than Drizzt has, okay? And so there was like, I can't remember how many more people there were, but he fucked them up again, because he's awesome. Okay, so he wins that one as well, and then he wins he wins all of them. He was the best student at Melee Magthere that has ever gone through. So with that done, with the Grand Melee, the 8th Grand Melee, I think, or the 9th. It goes to the 9th year. After the 9th year of the Grand Melee, he starts learning magic. All right, so because that's part of the other school is sorcerer or sorcery, something like that. It's a school about sorcery, and he learns magic from a guy named Mazaj. Okay, and now the thing is, Mazaj has this apprentice is like Adnot, I believe, of the house that House Do'Urden took over in the beginning of the story. If you guys remember all that. Mazaj is training Drizzt, and during that training, he kind of is trying to find Drizzt's weakness and exploit it and see how he can beat Drizzt. Well, his apprentice is kind of pissed off that, Drizzt's house kind of fucked up his entire house. And so he goes out of control and attacks Drizzt. And Drizzt is, what the fuck? Well, Mazaj sends a panther that came out of an Onyx figurine, which you'll learn about later. He sent a panther and killed that guy, even though that guy was part of his house. The reason being is because their matron mother told them not to attack Drizzt, so they got fucked up. And, and Mazaj wanted to keep, like, an air of, like, oh, that was just a test. That was just something we were going to do to you, so you would better understand, blah, 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 blah. So, That all done, Drizzt loved his time with Mazaj. He learned a lot of small spells. Wasn't like a sorcerer supreme or anything, but he did learn a couple small spells. And the important part of that whole meeting is the Panther. All right, we'll get to that in a moment. Now, he studied for 6 months, learning many spells, many small spells. During his graduation, all right, so the last bit of it was, I think it was 8 months or so, that he had to study Loth, and which is the Spider Queen, who is their god, the Drow god. Now, Loth breeds chaos and is just an evil deity, and he had to study under the Loth priestesses. And it was hell for him, essentially. He hated every moment of it, but he went through it, and he eventually graduated from Melee Mag there. And during his graduation, they infected the air with a fog that kind of enhanced a Drow's desires. And during this, they were supposed to bang a priestess, of Loth. Well, Drizzt was like, nah, dog, that ain't me. I would rather do this with someone I actually love and not just some random chick, because this is kind of weird. And they essentially were like, what the fuck, man? This is the ceremony. This is Drow tradition. And so his sister Vienna takes Drizzt to the land of the Drider, which are Drow spiders. Half Drow, half spiders. Giant Drow spider things. They're called Driders. And that's what happens when you are not in the favor of Loth. Loth is like, fuck you, bitch, and you become a Drider. Through priestess magic. Well, he escapes that land, obviously, because he's the main character of the story. So he escapes that land and goes back to House Do'Urden, where they're like, listen, you gotta obey Loth, or you're gonna die. And he did not like it. He was not a fan. And when he returned home, after just being home for a little bit, his matron mother told him about a war that was going to happen from House Hunnet. House Hunnet was planning on attacking House Do'Urden. It's a kind of a thing in Drow society where people knew beforehand whether or not a house was going to attack another house, and yada yada yada. So he prepared, and they all prepared, and they are getting their house ready for this battle. But it's not to come for a while. So he goes on a mission with Mazaj, the wizard who trained him, his brother Dinan, and Guinevere. Alright? They were with a few other Drow, but it was essentially just them. They were the main characters that are important. It was a raiding party, and they went to the surface world, and he loved it. He saw the surface world, and he was like, this is awesome. This is, cool as shit. Well, they started killing elves, surface elves. And because Drow they hate surface elves. That's just their way. If that wasn't obvious from the beginning, where I said, Drow live underground, surface elves are on the surface, Drow are like black elves, and surface elves are just, white guys, essentially. If you don't see the whole connection there, huh? Racist undertones. Anyway, they were killing elves, and Drizzt was like, no, this is fucking wrong. But he didn't want to show any one of the Drow that, because that would be bad. So instead, he pretends to kill this little girl, little elf, I guess, little girl elf, and the way he does this is he actually sticks her under her dead mother. That's not scarring or anything. That'll come back eventually. That's not gonna be for a while though. You'll just remember the little girl, alright, because that's kind of a big deal. Well, because he did this, alright, oh yeah, and on top of that, he also smeared the little girl with her mother's blood. Totally not mentally scarring for the rest of your life or anything. Well, because he did this, it was totally honorable. He did it out of necessity. You know, it wasn't to scar her for the rest of her life or anything. And you know, like, aha, fuck you. No, it was, you know, it was because he didn't want to fucking kill her. And so he didn't take part in any of the killing that day. And because he didn't, his house lost favor to Loth. Well, House Hunnet then learned about the House Do'Urden losing the favor of Loth and went on the attack. Alright, so that was kind of a big deal. Well, that's where we're going to end. Okay, because we're going to explore the end of the, or what happens with the fight, where everything goes from there, and, you know, yada yada yada. It's really interesting. I suggest you follow me on my next video. I'm going to be playing Fallout 4 next Wednesday. Next Wednesday I'll have my first video out. I'll be streaming it on Tuesday, though, as soon as I start playing the game. So look out for that. Monday we will be finishing the rig for the Warthog. So look out for that. Follow me on Twitter. Like the Facebook page. All the links in the below section. Alright guys, follow me for the next installation of The Legend of Drizzt. Hope you guys enjoyed this little explainer video. I'm going to start doing that from now on to build up to where I am currently, because I'm not finished yet. I'm close. But, you know, we'll find out where this goes. Tune in next time. Peace out.